I like how the interview is set up with blue and pink colors to give that bisexual feeling when Brianna is pansexual themselves. So it really does match their sexuality and it gives this sort of performance feeling. And it just, there's so much passion and charisma and emotion in this entire documentary that matches Brianna really well. In the interview, also on the right hand side, Brianna is darkened, but on the left, Brianna is lightened up, which I feel like that juxtaposition is to mirror the seriousness of the story, but also perhaps give a lighter tone to it. I found it very brave and personal when Brianna went back to their school and you could see the raw emotions in their face and the bereavement when they decide to let go of that pain. When we get to the part about the Colorado bar shooting, it was absolutely sad and heartbreaking to hear Brianna talk about it because it is where they performed. It is their fellow trans brother and sister community. It is like exactly like them losing family. And they just want people to go and see a drag show for themselves if they don't understand it. And I agree, like, just the LGBT community is so sick of being portrayed as groomers. To Brianna, and including myself, drag is a form of art, and it this whole story doesn't even need instrumentals. Brianna can hold it off on their own, and it is absolutely a wonderful story told.
Authenticity is a conversation that should never stop. How we can further explore our inner selves and express that inner truth. It's easier for some and more difficult for others. Brianna Jade, this wonderful individual that we get to know here in this short doc, is a prime example of what true authenticity can look like. It is not an easy journey, it is not a comfortable one, but it's one worth taking. And I think that's the greatest takeaway we can have from his and her journey, these two separate but very much symbiotic entities and individuals that live inside this one human.
I think drag is really villainized in the media and as like in the country right now for no reason. So I think with that and just the the persecution that the LGBT plus community um, is like constantly under, I think this was a really personable look at someone who is directly affected by all of these things. Um, it's almost Pride Month at the time that I'm watching this, so I think this is really timely to be seeing this. And I think there's a lot of great humanity just showing this individual who's like, I do drag at night, but during the day, like no one cares. I'm just me, and there's no reason why people should be afraid of me or what I do. I'm just a normal person, and that's so true for literally like all the LGBTQ plus community. So I think this has a really strong message, and it's told by someone who's really personable and lovely to watch and just really inviting.
I loved hearing from Nathaniel and, his story of accepting himself, coming out, finding drag, finding, his community, especially finding his community in Jackson City. You wouldn't think sort of like a military-based town would be somewhere where you would find this community, but hearing from him and hearing how, his clients don't care that he's gay, they just want a good cut sort of thing. I loved that. I love that he is fighting for the overturning of misconceptions when it comes to drag shows, especially now. I think this documentary is very timely with the banning of drag shows in Florida and things like that. Sort of destroying those misconceptions is really important, and raising awareness for that is very important. I loved seeing Brianna perform at the end of this. There was sort of an anticipation building up to that because we didn't get to see it until the end. And we have Nathaniel talking about how great of a performer he is at all of his talent shows and things like that. And I loved finally seeing Brianna Jade at the end. I think Also, this documentary did a great job of balancing the fun, aspects of drag performance with the heavier materials, especially with Club Q and all the persecution that they've been facing recently. I mean, not just recently, but what we've been hearing about with these shootings and things, and dealing with that as well.
Really enjoyed listening to his story, listening to how he got involved in drag, the trials and the tribulations that he had at school. All of those things were so relatable. You watched the interviews in this and instantaneously felt a rapport with him. You felt like you knew him. I think the filmmakers did a great job with the music on this, and their cinematography was great. There were a couple of areas where they did something really cool. They kind of slowed things down a little bit, and I think that just added a whole nother layer to the film. There were a lot of things that they spoke about in the film that just, it felt like a punch right to the heart. What happened in Colorado Springs was so awful, but it was important to discuss it because we can't forget those things.
I love the opening quote, and I love that I love documentaries that start with quotes and kind of set us up for the story. Just love that Nathaniel was open and vulnerable enough to share this story of themselves. I mean, this is a very big thing to do, especially in that community. As you've seen in the footage that they showed with the mass shooting and just all the bullying and the attacks and things that happen just because of somebody's, sexual preference or how they look. I like that he said, my mother is mostly my hero, and that he wanted to be a dancer from, an early age, and went to, got accepted into Juilliard. Just thought it was a very interesting story about this person, and the fact that they're a barber and a showgirl. I mean, that just shows people have the feminine and the masculine, and it's like, everybody has that. So how do we judge? I think Nathaniel is very engaging and was able to carry this the whole way through. Really great pacing and energy, and good music too. And I really like the news footage and the different visuals.
I love that he defines his life through music. It's something that seems very pivotal, and of course it works with his night job too, being a drag queen. The fact that he makes it pivotal to 90s music specifically, where he mentions the Spice Girls and then Beyonce going solo and stuff, that he can see that. I'd be on his sister's side with the music because I still have all the Hanson CDs that come out, but it's one that I can see why music is so defining to him. At the same time, it's a good story where you can see fear and how through what he's saying is how the media and social media can manipulate people's emotions and fears, because he has a day job. Like he said, nobody actually cares what he does as long as he does their hair right. And that's really what he does, so he can be who he wants to be at night.